you for joining me. And as Dennis, you've been hearing Dennis talk, and he is my colleague. Dennis is the Associate Executive Director of SMI, and I am the Director of Membership and Communications. And we are recording this session today, and this is really our opportunity to share some background information about SMI with new members. And this is also an opportunity for you to ask us questions, and you can actually do that by using the GoToWebinar panel. There is a place where you can type questions in and submit them to Dennis and I, and certainly if we don't get to your questions during the webinar today, we will certainly follow up with you after the webinar. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to go over today. We're going to start by sharing some of the committees that govern SMI. We're going to talk about the history. We'll get into some of the forums, and especially the upcoming fall forum. We'll talk about the mentor program as well as the initiatives and tools. We'll talk about our online webinars and on-demand webinars, and we'll be available, as I said, after this to answer any questions you have. So Dennis, I'll turn it over to you, and you can start to talk to everyone about the SMI Board of Directors.
Great, Christine, thank you. I see that some of the folks have been able to access the audio portion of our piece. I know Azure and Dan and Bill, it seems, can all speak, so we appreciate that. And Mike, you can send in any questions via the chat piece or the questions piece, and we'll do our best to deal with that. Let me cover the SMI Board of Directors first for you folks. We have a Board of Directors that is made up of 12 individuals, 6 from the provider community and 6 from the industry side of the community. The folks that you see here, Susan Schutte from Halyard Health is our current chair of the board, Jim Francis, immediate past chair, Jane is the secretary, and Dennis Black is our treasurer. The board rotates around, I think, 3 or 4 members each year in many cases. So the board is a dynamic group that sets strategy for SMI. We have, as tradition, started a rotation of the chair. It's not required by our charter, but nonetheless, it's a tradition established by SMI to rotate the chair between the industry side and the provider side. Susan Schutte from Halyard Health is in her first year of her 2-year term, and she will be the chair as well in 2018. You see as well folks like Keith Johnson, our membership committee chair, and many others as well are involved here, some folks that you can see. So that's our board, and we encourage you to, if you have any questions about any board activities or whatever, to ask the staff or go directly to the members of the board. They are one of the conduits for feedback to the SMI staff. Lots of members talk to board members about things that are important to them, and so we encourage you to engage with our board members as you proceed. Christine, you want to talk about the SMI Membership Committee for a minute?
Sure. Yeah. So the Membership Committee, as Dennis said, is chaired by Keith Johnson from Coloplast. And this committee helps with all of the recruitment efforts. And they also help with our mentoring program. They also share insights regarding membership changes. And this committee meets 2 or 3 times a quarter. And we'll meet again now right before the fall forum, and I will assign these folks to be mentors to some of you, I'm sure, at the fall forum. So it's a great group. Keith is actually rotating off as chair at the end of 2017, so we'll be moving someone else into that position, and then the membership committee will continue in 2018.
Great.
Hey, this is Dan. I just had a quick question. These positions, how do you go about getting these? Are these appointed, or is there some type of other process on how you become in either the board or on the committee or what have you?
Christine, I can answer that. As far as the board is concerned, we will announce at the forum about board when appropriate. When there are openings, they will be announced to the membership, and members that are interested in serving on the board are asked to self-nominate or nominate others even. And then it's the board takes that under consideration, and the board selects the new board members coming in. Did that answer your question, Dan?
Yep, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Got it.
Great.
Yep, thank you.
Well, here's my favorite part. We get to talk about the SMI staff. You see here in front of you 5 individuals. Christine and myself are in here as well. Tom Hughes is our executive director. Those of you who don't know Tom, he's been in this industry for many, many years and one of the great strategic minds in healthcare supply chain. I have the privilege of serving as associate executive director. My responsibility is around the forums and managing the initiatives. Christine is the Director of Membership and Communications, handles all membership and marketing and communications, the website, etc. Christine is supported by Carolyn Huntington. Carolyn is a Membership and Communications Coordinator. Carolyn helps to coordinate a lot of things around the newsletter and different communications. And then our other staff member is Pam Pashevsko. Pam is our administrative manager. She handles all of the finances. Pam is the one who I think chases down people's invoices and things like that. So that is our staff. Just to impress upon you, I'm the only full-time person on the staff here. So SMI operates actually with less than 4 FTEs, and I just bring that up to help set expectations about what we can and cannot do. Christine, you want to talk a little bit about background on SMI?
Sure, absolutely. So SMI is really a community of the best and the brightest thought leaders in supply chain. I think both Dennis and I agree that the hardest part of our job is to really convince people that SMI is more than just a meeting. It's more than just the forums. It's really a community of industry thought leaders, the best and the brightest. All of you are on the phone today, and we consider you to be certainly the best and brightest in your organizations. And SMI actually started back about 13 years ago. And before that, there was a time when IDNs were just forming. And there was a group of providers that would get together and share ideas and best practices, and they would beat up on the suppliers. And after a few meetings and after a few years, they decided that if they really wanted to make improvements and learn from one another, that they really needed to invite the suppliers into this group. And so John Gaida, who used to be the Vice President of Supply Chain at Texas Health Resources, and Carl Manley, who was the VP of Supply Chain at Centera, along with our Executive Director, Tom Hughes, sort of formalized the structure of this group, and hence came SMI. So we are a non-profit 501c6 corporation. The staff is actually based in Massachusetts. We're completely funded by member dues, and that's an important aspect, and it's an important thing that differentiates SMI from other associations. There are no sponsorships at SMI. We do not allow sales and marketing, and we actually have legal counsel at each of the forums who ensures that there's no talk about pricing or contracts or anything like that. We're an educational driven organization. So we currently have about 130 organizations, and I know Dennis talked about being balanced on the board of directors. We also try to keep that balance with the organizations that we have. So right now you can see that we're pretty balanced between the number of provider organizations and the number of industry organizations that we have. And those industry organizations comprise of suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, some IT organizations, some data analytics organizations, transportation and logistics organizations. So we try and keep a balance of providers and industry partners. Any questions about the background so far? Okay, great. Dennis, we include the vision, mission, and goals on the next 2 slides, and you can read through the specifics here. We also have this information posted up on our website, and we really haven't changed our mission. We really try and stick to the fact that SMI is a community of thought leaders that are united to shape the future of the healthcare supply chain. And we actually had a strategic advisory council recently made up of SMI members who reviewed the vision, mission, and goals just to make sure that we were still aligned with all of these things that we created back 13 years ago. And the strategic advisory council said, yep, absolutely, SMI is still on the right track, doing the right things, and remaining a small, nimble, and powerful organization for the healthcare supply chain.
Christine, let me just chime in there and say that the mission, vision, and goals is being reviewed right now, and certainly if any members have any comments or edits, suggestions around that information, we'd be happy to share it with the staff, and we'll take that to leadership. Sorry, okay. Christine, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's great. So Dennis, we're going to talk about the forums. Do you want to play the video that we have?
Yeah, if you all just hang in there, and I'll play this, and hopefully you can enjoy it.
So glad to be at the SMI meeting. This is one of my favorite organizations that I get to attend every year. SMI is the one meeting you can come to where everybody is honest and you get a real opinion from a customer as to what's going on in their lives, and it helps us formulate what we need to do for them.
I really enjoy SMI. I've been going to conferences for about the last 35 years. There's no forum or conference out there that gives you the best information and up-to-date ideas of what's going on in the healthcare world. SMI is the best.
SMI is one of the industry meetings I never miss. It provides a level of interaction with my trading partner colleagues that I just don't get in any other forum. Plus, interesting topics, provocative conversations, and always a look at the future.
You get to come here and meet and greet with the best supply chain people in healthcare in the world. You get to meet with the senior executives of all the major companies you work with day in and day out.
If I were to only be able to go to 2 conferences a year, it would be SMI. I think it really provides us with a great tapestry of how we can better healthcare supply chain. So I'm very grateful for SMI. Thank you very much. Look forward to future conferences. Thanks.
I hope you're all able to hear that okay.
Yes.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we try to give you a little flair in that quick video about the SMI forums. They're as the first bullet point says here, the SMI forums are working meetings. They are really a combination of a variety of things. We have the general sessions are we do things like table discussions after general session presentations. We get a variety of speakers that perform for us. We've had Ian Morrison and Paul Keckley and others. Coming up in the spring of 2018 will be the Chief Medical Officer from the Duke Health System. as an example. So we try to keep that variety of speakers going. We have a number of small group interaction opportunities. One example is our luncheon rounds. These are very unstructured discussions and sharing amongst members in small groups of 25 or so while people are sharing lunch. At the upcoming forum, we're using those luncheon rounds as an opportunity to solicit strategic feedback information from our members so that the SMI staff can lay out our agenda for the next 3 years. So we're using those luncheon rounds. But that's what I call an unstructured small group interaction. There's no agenda, no slides, mostly discussion. A second type of small group interaction is around the initiative breakouts. Initiative teams are working on various things, and I'll go over that in a minute. These are structured meetings. These are teams that have been in place usually for a while. They have an agenda. There's presentation and discussion as well. And the third type of small group interaction is the SMI TU sessions. And these are, as it says, half presentation, half discussion. These are breakout groups, again, 25, 30 people. You select when you register for the forum which session you wish to attend to. And these are avenues for members and industry experts to come share their experiences, their learnings, etc. with the SMI members, but also for them to learn from the SMI members and then for us all to learn from each other. Throughout the agenda, there's plenty of networking opportunity, whether it's a welcome reception. There's lots of fun. We have a themed dinner. Coming up at the next forum here is a themed dinner around a Texas theme, some cowboys and so forth. I might even wear a cowboy hat. So the forums are working meetings, and believe me, very few people go home rested from the SMI meetings. Our typical forum organization, as it's outlined in here, on day one in the afternoon, in this case Tuesday, this is actually coming up at the upcoming fall forum. We're doing this for the first time. We're letting the initiative teams have longer periods to maximize the face-to-face time that they have. So our initiative teams will be meeting on Tuesday afternoon. Then we have an orientation session at 4:30 and a welcome reception at 5:30. On day two, general sessions with our keynotes, the lunch and discussion rounds that I explained before, and then the reception dinner where we have a lot of fun. One of the things you may have seen in the video was some people having fun, so we don't want to discourage everybody and let them think it's all work. We do have a good time. And then on day 3 in the morning, we'll have the SMI TU breakout sessions followed by a general session, and we'll adjourn midday. So what this typical way that we organize the forum is to allow our members to work on the first day and then travel in, spend the whole second day with us, and then half of the third day and allow people to get home. So we're trying to minimize the amount of time that people have to take away from their work. This coming forum right here is a highlight of what we've got. It's going to start with those initiative team meetings, as I said. There are 3 initiative breakouts happening, and you are all welcome to go to any of them. The first one is a brand new one, the Women's Leadership Initiative. That's going to be facilitated by Nancy LeMaster, who recently just left BJC as their supply chain executive. We've got a recall initiative. I'll go into a little bit more detail about that in a second, and a economic index initiative where we're collaborating with other organizations. As I said, the orientation session and the welcome reception. We start early on Wednesday with breakfast, another networking opportunity. Sessions and breakout sessions go from 8 to 5 on Wednesday, followed by the Saddles, Spurs, and SMI dinner. I'll give you folks an early preview. We were thinking about having a mechanical bull for our special themed dinner and decided that it represented too many risks. But we will have lots of other things that are associated with that theme of Spurs and Saddles and the SMI. Again, a mix of large and general sessions. Session topics come from our members, and that's something I want to emphasize with you folks here as new members. You will see an extensive evaluation form from SMI. You can fill it out either in hard copy or in the app that we use for the forum. It is one of our greatest tools to receive feedback from our members. We not only ask for ratings over the various parts of the forum, but we have a lot of opportunity in the evaluation for members to give us feedback about things that they like, that they don't like, that they'd like to see us do, etc. So I really want to encourage you all to complete that evaluation as extensively as possible. The dress, by the way, is business casual. The welcome reception is on Tuesday evening, is scheduled to be outside, weather permitting. So people dress accordingly. Business casual, there's a lot of definitions about what it is right now, but we see a lot of the men wearing the sport coats and with no ties, and the ladies wearing similar. Making the most of your forum experience. You know, your new members, a lot of new members approach the forums relatively quiet, and while we appreciate that, we do want you to know that SMI is the safe place to have the difficult conversations. So if you hear or see something that you don't agree with or that you want to challenge, this is the place to speak up. Our members are empowered to speak up and to challenge everybody in a polite and professional way. So this is not a passive meeting. We expect you to participate. Making the most of it, certainly networking is the primary focus that we try to organize around. Review the agenda, make sure that you register early. I think you were all registered already. Attending the welcome reception on Tuesday evening, in the orientation sessions, those are important. The welcome reception, by the way, on Tuesday evening is with, we certainly have cocktails and so forth, and plenty of food. So we try to make it so that members don't feel they have to go out for dinner. You should be able to find more than enough food at all the SMI meals, starting at the welcome reception all the way through Thursday morning's breakfast. Again, speaking out at the luncheon sessions and the breakout sessions. Volunteer when people are asking for volunteers, and Christine and I are the people who often have to ask for volunteers. We love it when you volunteer to help out, whether it's facilitator, as subject matter experts, and so forth. So don't hesitate. Stay for the duration of the forum as well. We know people have schedule issues, family issues, work issues, etc. And sometimes people are not able to stay for the full forum, and we do understand that, but we want to encourage you to stay for the duration of the forum so that you can get the maximum out of what it's all about.
So, excuse me, Dennis.
Yes.
On the schedule of events, it says first-time attendees orientation is invitation only.
Yes.
So,
So I'll be sending out invitations to everyone on the call today, and anyone who's a first-time attendee gets invited to that orientation session on Tuesday afternoon.
okay, I just wanted to clear that up. Thank you.
Sure. Something I want to point out as well is what we call SMI special events. We don't plan necessarily for special events. However, when opportunities present themselves, we have conducted special events. Sometimes they're separate from the forum. Sometimes they're bolted on, if you will, to the back or the beginning of the forum. Here's the 5 special events that we've done, all of them within the last 6 or 7 years. LISAR Shared Services down in Florida arranged for a tour. We had 50 members that was not associated with an SMI forum. It's a totally separate event, and over 50 members attended. Really informative, learning all about this shared services concept. Intermountain, we had a very similar special event out there as well, as Brent Johnson invited the SMI community to his place. We heard from Dr. Brent James from Intermountain Healthcare, as well as toured their shared services facility. We did have an event with Staples that was attached to one of our forums that was held in the Orlando area. We went to one of their state-of-the-art distribution centers and understood exactly how they handle the volume that they have. Another great special event we had was at Parkland Health in Dallas. They had just completed the building of a $1.1 billion new hospital. It wasn't opened yet. They hadn't moved the patients over from the old facility. And we had the opportunity, and we had 2 busloads of SMI members that went over to see what a hospital looks like from behind the scenes look, if you will. And we also had a chance to meet and have a panel discussion with the senior executives from Parkland Health. That was very, very informative. And then just a year or so ago in Atlanta, when we had the forum there, we were able to get invited to the CDC's headquarters. And actually, this lower picture here, where everybody's around the round table, that was the SMI members in the executive boardroom at the Centers for Disease Control, and we were able to hear from them all about their national stockpiles and the work that they do. So we do have special events, and if you have a suggestion for one or an idea, we certainly welcome you and offer them to the staff and so forth. But we don't, as we say, have them on a regularly scheduled calendar, but when the opportunity presents itself, we have them. Christine, I know as everybody here is going to be invited to the orientation breakfast,
yes.
Maybe you want to talk about the SMI Mentor Program.
Yes, absolutely. So to help with your transition into SMI, first-time attendees and guests to the forum are all assigned a mentor. And we reach out to the board of directors and the membership committee, and sometimes the membership at large, and ask people to be a mentor. Everyone gets assigned, and the mentor will reach out to you prior to the forum, and they will go through the agenda with you. They'll answer any questions that you have, and then everyone will be invited to the orientation session, both first-time attendees, guests, and their mentor. That happens from 4:30 to 5:30, as Dennis mentioned, on Tuesday afternoon, and then we'll all move right into the welcome reception. And then the mentors and I will check in after the forum is over, just to make sure we met your expectations, answer any questions you have, provide any additional information that you need. And it's actually a really great program. I know so many of the mentors and their mentees have become friends and have built long-lasting, productive relationships. So we're really proud of this program. And so you'll be seeing some information about who your mentor is, and also the invite to the orientation session. You'll be seeing a few of those communications from me over the next few weeks.
You know, Christine, let me just say, you mentioned about how mentors and mentees have developed relationships, and really that touches on the point about a lot of what SMI is all about. We're trying to encourage healthy, trusting business relationships amongst our members in the community. And one thing I want to emphasize for folks is through, SMI, one of the things that makes SMI different is that we are not a seminar factory. We don't sell tickets to SMI forums. It's for our members and invited guests only. And so therefore, repeatedly coming to the forums, and it gives you the opportunity to develop the relationships with the people in the industry that you want to have relationships with. So to maximize the value of your SMI membership, it's important to make sure that you're consistently coming to the SMI forums. I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes talking about some current initiatives. As I mentioned before, we have a medical device recall initiative. Excuse me, this team is led, as most teams are, by a provider executive and a supplier executive. In this case, Dennis Black from BD and Tom Lebowski from Advocate Health. This team has process mapped a typical recall process. They're interacting with the FDA. The goal, and we will be very close to that goal coming out of the breakout session at the forum, is to submit recommendations to the FDA. We also plan to conduct an SMI to You webinar about what we've learned about recall. So phase one of this initiative is to submit recommendations to the FDA. Our focus at this point is around the communications issues. As you folks know, recalls present risk to patients, and there are a number of practices, many required by regulation, around communication between suppliers and providers, and we think that can improve in speed, and so we're going to some recommendations to the FDA about that. Then the team will turn their attention to a phase two goal of identifying and documenting best practices so that we can promote those and share those throughout the industry. Another initiative that we have, which is really a bit of a special collaboration initiative, is we are working with the Institute for Supply Management and our friends at the Association of Healthcare Resource and Materials Management, ARM. The Institute of Supply Management, which is based in Arizona, produces on a monthly basis a manufacturing report on business. And they actually also produce a non-manufacturing report on business. These are monthly surveys that are part of economic indicators that are shared by the President's Council of Economic Advisors. Actually, the ISM's two reports, the manufacturing and the non-manufacturing report, wind up on the desk of the President once per month. They approached ARM and SMI together about creating a hospital report on business. And so we have worked in collaboration in a small team of SMI members, some folks representing ARM and the Institute of Supply Management, to create a monthly survey. It's a directional survey that says, is your inventory up, down, or the same? Is your hiring up, down, or the same? Those type of questions. Very easy to participate in. We are in what we call the pilot phase. It's just started. SMI provider members are all, or if they're not, will be participating in this monthly survey. Members from the Institute of Supply Management will be at the forum, and we encourage you all, and we'll work hard to introduce you to them and see if you folks can't participate in this. We've got a 12-month period of collecting data through monthly surveys. From there, Institute of Supply Management thinks we'll have a significant enough foundation that we will be able to go public with the hospital report on business. So that is something we encourage you to get involved with, and certainly seek me out if you need to know more about it. And lastly, a new initiative that's kicking off in the fall is the Women's Leadership Initiative. That actually was born out of a pre-forum panel discussion that we had last year around women in supply chain. They've got a robust agenda planned for the team meeting that takes place on Tuesday, October 24th from 1 to 4. This, by the way, is not specifically for women. It's for men and women, and it's talking about the role of gender equity and so forth. To give you some background on that, SMI, our female attendees at the SMI forums is now running approximately 30%, which is, and it's up significantly. Some SMI started 12 years ago, and it's an indication of the increasing number of women that are assuming leadership positions in the business. And SMI has decided that we're going to take a more aggressive approach than just talking about that, and see what we can't do to deal with some issues about self-confidence and unconscious bias and so forth. So that's going to be a very exciting initiative led by Nancy LeMaster. Tools and resources are something that SMI produces, another thing that makes us separate from other organizations. The SMI Board of Directors in our first year determined that if our teams of members work to produce tools and resources, whether they're documents, pieces of software, etc., that we as an organization are going to offer them through our website free of charge. So everything, the collective knowledge of the SMI effort through the teams eventually winds up being available to the industry, allowing everyone to learn what we have learned. There's over 30 tools that are out there. There's some software, there's guidelines, there's calculators, and so forth. The number of downloads continues to increase. We've become a very strong resource for people all across the healthcare supply chain. A list of some of the tools that are out there. Just to mention, the value analysis new model is something that we did in collaboration with the Association of Healthcare Value Analysis Professionals. The collaboration package is something that many of our members, especially suppliers, use to help them collaborate better with their customers. And let me also just mention about our copyright. You see here in the list, and we put it there for a reason. The SMI copyright says that contents of the publication may be reused or reproduced in whole or in part, so long as SMI is acknowledged as the author. So that's an important fact to keep in mind. Many times we get phone calls from people that say, geez, I just looked at this great thing I downloaded from SMI about supply chain optimization. I'd like to use some of this. Wholeheartedly, you can, so long as SMI is given attribution. That way we can continue to spread our influence throughout the industry. Christine, you want to cover up now on the communication toolkits and things like that?
Yep, thanks, Dennis. So we have various communication tools, including our website, and our website has a members-only section where we include forum information. All of the presentations that you'll see at the Fall Forum will be posted on our website, as well as in the event app, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. There's information on the initiative teams. All of our webinars that we record are posted in the members-only section. And then, as Dennis mentioned, our tools and solutions are in the public section of our website. We also have a monthly newsletter called Quick Bites, and we highlight the news about what's going on with our members and also what's coming up and what's important for our members to know in the future. So that goes out via email monthly from me. At the forum, we have this event app where we post the attendee list for the forums, and that attendee list allows our members to connect with one another prior to the forum and then actually at the forum. It's a great networking tool that we have. As I said, all of the presentations are available on the app, and then we send important information and notifications out through the app while we're at the forums. We should also talk about the SMI2U webinars, and these are free online webinars for our members hosted by Dennis, and they're a great way for our members to share the value of SMI with other colleagues in their organizations. So if there's a topic, for instance, that your department is interested in, or maybe some other department in your organization, many members will reserve a conference room and invite their colleagues to participate, and the webinars are all free of charge. Some of the most recent topics we've explored, improving healthcare supply chain performance through metrics with Vance Moore, who was a prior board member of SMI from Mercy. We talked about navigating bundle payments. We've talked about vendor credentialing, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity. So we try and, again, through the feedback mechanisms that Dennis has mentioned and through the evaluations, determine what topics our members really want to learn more about, and that's what we focus on for the webinars. We record everything, and so we have a library of on-demand webinars in that members-only section on our website. So go ahead, Dennis.
No, Christine, I was just going to say that we're hoping to have that medical device recall webinar sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas this year. We don't have the solution to the medical device recall, but let me tell you, we've learned so much about what providers have to do and what suppliers have to do that we think there's a great educational opportunity. And as you mentioned, Christine, we allow our members to take that webinar invitation and share it with as many people within their organization as they like. And it allows us to take that information and share it back deeper into your organizations. If anybody has any suggestions for webinar topics and so forth, they can certainly feel free to contact me. Christine, we covered a lot of information so far.
We have, yes. Does anyone have any questions or anything?
Mike Ray may have some questions. Unfortunately, I've been unable to get Mike's audio piece to activate. But I do want folks to know that we've recorded this webinar, and Mike, I'll be happy to send it out to you with the audio as soon as we have that ready. Christine, any of the folks on the call here have any questions for us, or how can we help you, or is there something that you'd like to share with us right now about what SMI can incorporate into either our initiatives or forums, etc.? We're always open to suggestions.
Dennis, I just did want to mention too, we're a relatively small membership organization, and we try and remain a smaller organization, because that's what our members want. It really helps to foster, as Dennis said, productive relationships and networking at the forum. If there is anyone in the SMI membership that you'd like to meet prior to the forum or at the forum, Dennis and I can help facilitate an introduction. And we are a very welcoming group, as you will all see if you can make it to the forum. Everyone is very welcoming, and it's a very passionate and powerful organization. So if there is someone in particular that you'd like us to connect you with, please feel free to reach out to Dennis or I to do that.
There's our contact information right there, so we don't want to take up too much more of your time. Is there any other questions before we complete this webinar? Well, we thank you for being there. We look forward to your participating in SMI as we move forward. And with that, we'll conclude today's webinar. And please, as I said, any questions, feel free to reach out to Christine and I, and we'd be happy to help you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis. Thanks, Christine. You guys have a great day.
Take care. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.